I'm El-Atab, an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia and working in the field of nanotechnology. Today, I'm going to talk about 5 misconceptions about becoming a woman scientific leader in the Arab world. You know, I got married around 6 years ago, but I just gave birth to my first daughter, Noura, 2 months ago. And this is a picture of her, by the way. And the first misconception that I want to get rid of right away is that we don't have women who are capable of doing this. Women who can have a family and a scientific career. So here's my chart from the World Bank, which shows the percentage of female STEM graduates. And you can see that Arab girls are actually doing much better than other regions. Most of the Arab girls love science, believe in its power, and are not afraid to study it and major in it. However, as the Arab girls graduate, we lose many of them who don't join the workforce or take on leadership roles. This chart from the UNESCO Institute of Statistics confirms this issue. The green bars show the percentage of female STEM graduates in different countries from the MENA region, and the red bars show the percentage of female participation in the workforce. And this happens not because women are not capable or talented enough, but because either they're not given the opportunity or because they decided to prioritize other things in their life, such as their family. In fact, according to the World Bank, 13 of the 15 countries with the lowest rate of female participation in the workforce are in the Arab world. Now, this can be due to various challenges, which also vary from one country to another within the Middle East and Africa region, ranging from cultural to social and familial pressures. Now, moving forward, this issue is hopefully expected to diminish. Many Arab governments have recently made women's participation in the workforce a priority and thus are empowering them and facilitating their work via various rules and laws. Another misconception number 2, that I would like to clear is that successful scientists knew what they wanted to do since the beginning, perhaps even since high school. That is not true. And we actually never knew what we wanted to do early on. So let me tell you a little bit about my personal career path so far. I was raised in Saudi Arabia, where I went to an international school, and my love for scientific subjects began in elementary school, thanks to my mother, who used to encourage me and explain the importance of science and its impact on our lives. This instilled in me an intrinsic motivation to learn these subjects. In fact, the key to promoting more women in science is based on inspiring girls not only at school, but also at home. At the elementary school level, I used to compete with male colleagues as they were mostly interested in scientific subjects. Then, during secondary school, I moved to Lebanon and decided to study the general sciences track, which is focused on physics and math. And to my surprise, all of my classmates were females, with not even a single male. Well, the reason was because I went to the Saint Joseph de l'Apparition School, which was a girls-only school. In fact, I also used to believe in the first misconception that I just mentioned. Next, when I wanted to do my undergraduate studies, I didn't really know what major to select at the beginning. I just knew that I wanted to do engineering because I liked math and physics, but I didn't know which engineering major to choose. So my parents told me to select computer and communications engineering, as they believe that this major is more female-friendly and it is easier for a woman to secure a job in computing. Certainly easier than other engineering fields like mechanical and civil engineering, where most people, including my parents, think that you need physical strength, which women might lack. So I followed my parents' advice and majored in CCE, and indeed, the largest number of female engineering students at my undergraduate university were also majoring in CCE, most probably for the same reasons and following the same parental advice. However, as I started taking courses, I found out that I didn't really like computer and communications engineering. It was not really motivating me, even though I was getting high grades, straight A's with a scholarship. This realization led me to start taking elective courses from other majors in order to figure out what really draws my interest. And it was because of the inspiring Introduction to Nanotechnology elective course that I decided to shift majors and study microsystems engineering during my master's and PhD in the United Arab Emirates. I'm glad about this change. It enabled me to win several rewards and to make a contribution to the world's technological advances. This brings me to the third misconception, which is you can be considered as successful and as a potential leader in a given STEM field if you get high grades and scholarships or fellowships. That is not the case. The correct answer is passion. You have to be passionate about what you do to be able to become a leader in that field instead of remaining as a follower. In fact, doing research in STEM fields is not easy. In many cases, or in most of the cases, our experiments fail. Thus, if we are not really intrinsically motivated and passionate about what we're doing, we would give up the moment our first experiment fails. But passion lets us walk extra miles. Thus, my advice is don't be afraid of the change. It's never too late to change, and always go for what you're passionate about. Now you might ask, how do I know what I'm passionate about? How do I select my research topic? Well, of course, you have to read and learn about different topics and understand their importance and their impact on your life and see what really moves you, and then just do it. Misconception number 4 is when we think of failing experiments as the output of a failing scientist, and most often a failing female scientist. And believe me, this is not just related to science and technology. Unfortunately, in most of the Arab world, if not most of the whole world, failure is most often associated with females. Even when there's a car accident, people would say the driver must be a woman. First of all, failure is not related to the gender of the person. And second of all, we should look at failure from a different perspective, as a learning opportunity. So when an experiment fails, it means that you're working on something that hasn't been done in the past. And you're about to discover something new, something exciting. Yes, research in the STEM fields requires hard work, but it is worth it. Being able to develop novel and creative devices and contribute to making the human's life easier, healthier, safer, and more productive feels very rewarding to me. And this has been the main motivation behind my career progress from a postdoc to a research scientist and currently an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering at KAUST in Saudi Arabia. The final misconception, misconception number 5, that I would like to talk about is that you can achieve work-life balance if you have good time management skills. Well, I'm not sure work-life balance exists in our field, especially for a mom, but I believe in priorities. Everyone has their own, and based on them, we have to manage our time accordingly. And it's perfectly fine. Again, STEM jobs require hard work, but they are worth it. Moving forward, our unprecedented times demand creative solutions. This includes women who make up half of the world's population and who can make a difference.